Ladies and gentlemen, these are your World Championship Series Premier League Season 2 finalists. It comes all down to this. Everyone, we've all been waiting for this moment, but the two people who have been waiting most for this are right in front of you. Root Gaming's Hydra going up against Millennium's Lilbow. Such amazing stories. Who will get the last laugh? Will Hydra get that revenge he wanted and get that trophy? Or will Lilbow go all the way, setting a new landmark in StarCraft II history? Let's hear what they have to say. Hydra, this is what it all comes down to. It's been so long since you've held up a trophy. How much do you want this?
I can't say in a word.
Can't put it into words. That's pretty understandable, but Lilbow, after your semifinal, it's time to go get the Koreans. Are you confident looking at Hydra right now?
Yes.
Absolutely. Not going to ask for much more, because right now, players look each other in the eye, shake your hands, and then see how much you want that trophy. And let's get ready for the finals.
Europe versus Korea in the first time since 2013. This is the grand finals of Season 2. And what a venue, what a place, what an atmosphere we have for it in Control and Rotterdam, who are joining me on the desk one final time. This is it. From 16 players that traveled to Toronto, only to remain, and it is a Frenchman versus a Korean. Before we get into that, let's take a very quick look at the bracket to see exactly who they beat on the way to the grand finals. Lilbow started out incredibly strong, beating fellow countryman Marine Lord 3-0, beat Bunny 3-0, and Hydra went 3-1 versus Jaedong and then stomped on the Season 1 champion in the other semi-final, which leaves us with the two, Lilbow versus Hydra. What a great finals we have upcoming, Roddy.
I couldn't agree more, man. On Lilbow's run, you can say what you want. Maybe he's had slightly easier opponents, but the guy has dropped 2 maps in his entire run to the grand final. Like, no one would have predicted that any European, or North American for that matter, would have been capable of making it to the grand finals of WCS Premier League Season 2 while only dropping 2 maps. That's a remarkable run on its own.
Yeah, that's 2 maps from the round of 32, only a single map in Canada, and this is a fantastic performance. The first time since he's been in a finals. He's right up here. He's gone straight towards the finals. He's the first player that's done this since Stefano in the WCS. It's a massive moment for this young kid.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is going to be one of those defining moments that that people talk about for the rest of his career. If he can seal the deal, he actually goes into history as one of the very, very, very few that have ever done that kind of a feat for a non-Korean. If he doesn't, it's going to be kind of one of those pinnacle moments where it's like, okay, you've came close to greatness. Are you going to spill over into that champion quality of a player who for the rest of the year terrorized everyone else, or is this it? Is this the peak?
This guy's talent has been, it's always been there. It's just been unleashed at this event. He's had nothing on the same caliber as this tournament to his belt. I mean, he's played in France, he's done very well in France, but he is playing for the championship. No one, I mean, not many people can do that, Roddy. This is a great opportunity for him.
It truly is, and I didn't see it coming. I'd be lying if I said I predicted Lilbow in the final, because I didn't. I knew he was good. Just like last season, we knew that Showtime was good, and we know that Harstem is good, and we got a bunch of those new school Protoss players that we all know are very good, very strong, very well respected in the European scene, but that he was capable of this run that he's had, and the performance in the quarterfinals and the semifinals, it's stunning. I have no idea where it suddenly came from, but he peaked at the right moment, man. We often say, some people, they have the run of their life in an online qualifier. And that is great when people say like, it's offline, it's online, but he's doing it here in Canada, the event that so many of these players have been working towards do very hard.
Yeah, as soon as it got announced that we were coming to Canada, everybody wanted to go, and Lilbow happened to be playing the best of his life here in Canada. Had to do it, had to do it. Let's move on to talk a little bit about Hydra. Just as dominant as Lilbow's been, Hydra has only dropped a single map as well while being here. It's incredible. He traveled to Toronto and has absolutely killed it here, Jeff.
Yeah, what I really like, actually, glossing over Hydra just for one quick second, is actually the format's been so nice because I feel like these are the two best players. And then getting back to Hydra, he has been playing absolutely amazingly well. And I think going into this final, he has to be considered the favorite.
Yeah.
I think you would be very silly to, or French, I suppose, to consider Lilbow the favorite in this matchup. But that being said, we haven't quite seen a ZvP since Kung Fu Band on day one. And it was a 2-0 victory. But the game's had a couple of moments there where, I mean, it was pretty one-sided, but still, Kung Fu Bandit kind of hung his own. And Lilbow is kind of the genesis, the guy that's made popular this PvZ style in Europe that has been doing very, very well. So it's going to be kind of nice to see not necessarily the creator, but kind of the master.
Right, and Roddy, 4 finals this year within the WCS circuit for Hydra. He's failed in the previous 3. This is now the golden opportunity. It's a player that he probably is feeling confident against despite how Lilbow has played. He's not playing against Port, or defeated Port in the semi-finals. It's a grand final, and if he's able to take this is perfect. If he fails again,
it would be hard, but it still wouldn't be the end of the world, I think, for Hydra. I mean, there's a reason why he moved to North America. He wanted to make appearances at the foreign events. He wanted to play on stages. He wanted to earn money. And even if he would end up losing here, yes, he wouldn't be happy, but he still gets a crazy amount of WCS points. He still walks away with $15,000. I mean, that's more than he ever could have dreamed of. That's more than he made in his entire last year of playing StarCraft II. So, of course, nobody wants to be, I'm not going to go there, but like, the Jadong of 2013 where he just gets second places over and over again. He wants the title so badly, but he can already be so happy with this year.
And it's funny to think about. It's like he's already beaten Pult, and he gets out the booth. He's like, well, oh, wait a minute, I haven't won yet, I haven't won yet, I haven't won yet. And it's kind of that feeling that he's got to be very careful about because he can get surprised by the Frenchman leading into this final, Jeff.
Yeah, and here he is pictured, and this is actually the most, I mean, not to build too much into this picture, but that's the most nervous I've seen him all tournament long. He's been so calm, he's been very demure. He's had, I'm going to say it, kind of a Stefano-esque aura about him where it's like, it doesn't seem to really get to him. He doesn't seem too perturbed or bothered by the fact that there is 100,000 gorgeous Canadians here watching. There's more people at home. Like, there's so much to play for. I would be literally melting into the booth, but he's just sitting there cool as a cucumber, basically.
I couldn't agree more. I was really getting a Stefano vibe from him as well. Very few words, like it's not a big deal. Like, come on, this is a big deal, man. This is everything you've been practicing for. We're looking at the maps right now. Of course, this is a best of 7. There are no vetoes. And that is the one thing that I'm truly worried about for Lilbow. There's no surprise that a couple of these maps can be very difficult for Protoss against Zerg. And I was even talking with him a little bit, and he's like, man, I normally always veto map X and map Y, and obviously think about Inferno pools. And suddenly he has to play them, and that's going to be perhaps the biggest hurdle in this final.
Roddy, how important is map number 1 for both sides? Because Hydra can win it and say, yeah, that's right, this is my finals, I've come for this. And Lilbow, we've seen the confidence he's had throughout the tournament. If he gets that first win, it's going to continue to ooze out of him, and it will make him play better.
I mean, we always talk about momentum, so obviously winning map number 1 is very important, but in particular, this is Vani Research. You don't want to lose it as a Protoss, because I wouldn't say this is the best map, maybe Echo is, but from that point on, things are going to get harder and harder for you as a Protoss player, and you're going to end up on Cactus Valley. Can be okay for Protoss, can be difficult, but Inferno pools, that's going to be a nightmare for Lilbow. So Vani Research as map number 1 is truly going to be important, also for his confidence level. I was just talking with him a little bit outside, and he was like, fans were coming up to him, how do you feel? He's like, I got this, and he walked away. He's like, I'm actually really worried. Because the maps, the maps is going to be a big hurdle.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. It is time for the grand finals. I hope you're ready, Canada, because we are up here. Let's get this underway.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. The grand finals here for the World Championship Series. Wonderboy is going to face off against the Hydra here in the grand finals as we get into it. The Rumbling Thunder faces off against the Lightning Strike. Let's get into the first game of this best of 7 series to find out who is going to be crowned our Season 2 champion. It all comes down to this. As we have, spawning up to the north, as our blue Protoss, representing Team Millennium, it is Lilbow! And And down to the south, we have our red Zerg representing Team Root. He's been here before. Can he clinch it this time? It is Root Hydra!
Vandy Research Station here, a map that was picked here by Lilbow. Not one of the maps that they played the last time in the round of 32, where there were just 3 maps played, so definitely going to be interesting to see how both of them adjust. No surprise here, Hydra. As soon as I saw Vanny, I knew immediately that he was going to go for that. Keep in mind though, Lilbow, he's most likely aware of that possibility here right now and already thinking about it.
Start things with a bang. Start it with a momentum changer from the very word go here. Hydra already goes over towards the gold base. It's going to be a Nexus first for Lilbow as well on the other side. So likewise, not going to be giving in to any normalities. He's going to go straight for the big economical opening here. He's going to try and seize the advantage as well. And in a best of 7, what better a way for both of these guys to respect one another, respect one another and go for something a little bit atypical.
Actually, the series that they played in round 32 really wasn't your typical Protoss versus Zerg. You know, Hydra tried to pull 9 in game 1, that failed, that was too far behind, kind of died behind this. And behind this, he finally won the map in map number 2, but in map number 3 just wasn't quite solid enough to really be able to hold the attack that Lilbow threw at him, which was actually, funnily enough, on Expedition Lost, that Hydra picked in this very series as a second map. So obviously we're gonna see it no matter what, but setting the pace. The panel covered a little bit, you know, how important this can be in a finals like this. Both of the players, they've shown extreme confidence in interviews, talking off cameras as well. You know, Lilbow, after he beats Bunny really hard in the semifinals, I asked him, well, are you in a rush or something? And he told me, yes, actually, I feel quite hot. I want to go to the pool. And he wasn't kidding. Not even a smile, nothing. So these guys pretty serious. Same thing for Hydra. Hydra literally tweeted before the series, please give me the trophy. Let's start the games quickly. So both players with a little bit of, you know, I guess confidence that they show publicly is definitely nice to see, but will it translate in the game?
Well, we all know, as you pointed out before, round of 32, these guys met. Lilbow has been the only person to defeat Hydra in this tournament so far. Will he be able to do it again? So far, it's been an amazing path through the tournament here for Lilbow. So we will pause this and sort it out for you guys.
Yes, situation was actually in the game. Lilbow, he was getting his first sentry right now. I wonder how sentry heavy he will play, because that's what, you know, we call, I guess, the baguette PVZ.
Yeah.
For those of you who are not familiar with the baguette PVZ, it consists in basically taking at least one expansion, a lot of the time two, making a lot of sentries, a lot of blink stalkers, and scouting with hallucinations, and then deciding whether, you know, you want to play super aggressive or maybe a little bit more passive, which timings you go for, you know, as you go. All right. So it's going to be one of the things that we need to keep an eye out for, and right now the second sentry is already in production here for Lilbow.
We're right back in here, Toronto. We are right back into the grand finals. As for now, Lilbow here really not cutting many corners at all, you know, with that Nexus first, from their point going for the Forge here, looking to maybe get that +1 rolling.
That's going to be a very quick third base here, I think, by Lilbow in a second. No gases on the natural, so he's going to rush that very, very, very quickly. Actually, I've talked about how both players showed a lot of confidence. Hydra, he's no stranger to playing in these grand finals, whereas Lilbow, as confident as he's been, this is really his first huge, you know, I guess, run in a tournament, going very, very deep here, making it to the grand finals. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a little bit nervous here and there, because especially at this young age, I mean, can you imagine how it must feel for him, being so young, making it to the finals here, playing in front of such a huge crowd in the grand finals. If there is one time you're going to be getting nervous, it's in the grand finals.
Yeah, he is, you're totally right. He has been cool, calm, collected all the way through. How he reacts in a finals is remain to be seen. We'll see how this plays out throughout the entire best of 7. But for me, I feel this is going to go the distance. I really do. Hydra, he's back. He is back to claim what he believed was his in Season 1. He was so close, and according to Polt, he was so far. he only had one more map to win, and Paul took that away from him. Hydra here, he has a great opportunity, a great shot to clinch himself that first place. But then again, Wonderboy Lilbow here with his road through. It's been absolutely amazing to follow.
Yeah, he definitely needs to get to work with that scouting here. Lilbow has seen absolutely nothing here so far in this game. If we look at his vision, he's only seen basically his side of the map, and now the first time he's seen it, Phoenix will start flying across the map. He's going to see that road throw and that lair finished. Maybe even some tech.
Oh, might spot some Zerglings as well, heading towards that third base.
Oh, that's huge.
Just needs to be able to be on lockdown with the sentries, have them in a good position, and then from that point on, he should be fine here with that cannon well walled in.
This was supposed to be Blink. He starts charge instead. I think Lilbow is already planning some kind of timing here.
Uh-oh.
Even before scouting anything, he started charge.
Oh, he sees the creep over towards the gold base as well, so he knows exactly what is up, what is going on.
And he's getting more gates.
Is he going to change his direction? It doesn't look like it. So that gold base being a factor has not changed decisions here at all. Infestation pit is going down for Hydra. Does Hydra think that this is going to be Blink? Or something?
I'm not sure where he gets the infestation pit like this. Maybe on this map, getting a few swarm hosts, you know, and flying the locust into the natural of your opponent to snipe it can be one of the really good things that you can do.
True.
If he thinks he's Blink, he can go into infestors as well. And look, Hydra is scouting with an overseer right now. He's trying to see what's up, but this move out here by Lilbow with the Mothership Core is going to force a lot of units and has the potential to recall if he's in trouble.
Oh, and he's going to be able to spot that Templar Archives in the back here. That's a big deal. This is going to craft and dictate how Hydra is going to be able to react to this in the end. Look, Flying Locust is on the way. In this first game, in this best of 7, Hydra on a map, which is pretty good for it, to be honest, is going to go down that path and look to claim the first map here with this kind of style.
You're not supposed to be able to play with, you know, a lot of charge loss or even high Templars against a lot of roaches and swarm hosts. So Hydra right now, he identified what he's up against very nicely. Both players really giving each other a lot of respect here in the first game, you know, playing fairly defensively, scouting, trying to adjust on the go. But Hydra, with the 3 bases that he has, the 4th base about to come out, I think he's in a really good position.
There's quite a few roaches here looking to threaten at the front here for Hydra. This is quite the hard position for the Zerg to for Protoss to actually defend. Time Warp goes down, some force fields actually going to seal them in here against some of the Zealots at the front, warping in a few more. The Zerglings though get right onto the sentries. A good little move here by Hydra to try and bring some damage to Lilbow at the start of all of this. 5 Swarmers are on the way behind a bit, and the roaches are actually tucked in and can't really move at all. The Archon trying to do some damage. The Photon Overcharge here from the Nexus is trying to push back some of these roaches. Archon has to hold strong for the Zealots to warp in. Extra force fields will seal in these roaches, and Lilbow fends off the attack.
And he saved the Archon with 8 hit points here. It was supposed to die. These roaches, they were traded for a lot of very important units here of the Protoss. Lilbow starts a move out. I don't think he actually means it, because behind this he's getting an Immortal, an Observer, and queued up a War Prism as well. He might actually just go for a timing on the gold here momentarily. It's well saturated on 3 bases.
It's so long ago since I saw a Zealot Archon composition come into play here in this game, but 18 roaches and those 53 Zerglings having died, the Swarm hosts have got to be so careful about their positioning. I don't know, I mean, was charge even revealed during that fight? Did he gain the knowledge? It's very important that these units do not get caught off guard.
Hydra actually attacked because he realized that he was charged, and with roaches you can deal very well with charge, especially if you can kite, which here he couldn't.
With those Swarm hosts in play, this might force the issue here from Lilbow. And actually, he's taxiing down the Nexus with these Locusts and just going straight for the kill here. A great move by Hydra, limiting some of the economy, and he gets it. Brilliant snipe out here from Hydra to start things off. That could trigger the warning, though, for Lilbow.
Oh, he gets surrounded. He wasn't paying attention to his army. Look at the passing.
And the Archon's here doing quite a bit of damage to those links, but he still needs everything together. The Swarm host on the right-hand side, been spotted, but it's not going to be enough. If he could get a force field somewhere on a ramp or something, it would deny the retreat out. But this is still quite the strong force here for Lilbow. 83 army supply against 106.
Hydra is going to get a full surround here. He's been kiting perfectly. Lilbow is really out of position here.
And he's going to try and get a go concave here with the roaches as well. The Archon's doing well to the left-hand side. Swarm host with the Locust going to try and swing in from the right. It doesn't look like Lilbow wants to take that engagement with the Locust there. He can evade them. He can get away from now, but that's going to cost him an Immortal. He gets one of the Immortals. Link's going to run onto the front as well here, but he catches so many of the roaches with force fields. They need to get out of there. Drones come off the line for Hydra to try and deal with that, but the army supplies are dead even.
Yeah, Kailash, Lilbow needs to make this attack work. He never restarted the Nexus. He's completely all in right now here. his economy has been really weakened. He needs to make something work. This force field's not going to be enough. Hydra pulling back behind the Hydra then.
He only has roaches. He only has roaches against this, and a lot of them get trapped in there. And
He's got so many Archons. Oh my god.
it's such power. Such
How
power.
can he kill this much?
How are you supposed to deal with this for Hydra? Does he have any more units in production? He does have very little. Only roaches. There you go. GG. Lilbow takes game at #1. Look at that. The clap of the hands. The confidence is there for Lilbow. He's had it all tournament long. And game #1 there is a proving state for him. He was confident even into the first game, even in this grand finals. And Hydra gotta be feeling a little bit of doubt there after that. I mean, if you really consider how that game went, how that game played out, Todd, that was not your typical PvZ, and Lilbow was able to prevail.
Definitely not. He tried for something special, and in the end, it's probably what made him win. I think Hydra, even though he saw, you know, that there was charge early on, that there was High Temp Plus and most likely Archons, he fought a little bit too much, didn't kite off instead of just you know, kind of turtling, getting it festers out, as we see the engagement here. Look at this amount of Archons. How do you kill this? You need to be maxed out on Roach Hydra, I think. That's the only way. These guys never died, basically.
Great, just great engagements here by Lilbow. And the most important thing about all of these engagements is the force fields. Like, how are you supposed to close the gap when your opponent is on creep, when like you're kiting back with roaches and trying to deal with that? It was brilliant.
The first huge attack by Hydra was just not that good, I think. And then as soon as he snipes the Nexus, you should always kind of anticipate that the Protoss player might get desperate and, you know, all in you, which is what happened here. Lilbow never restarted the Nexus. He was on long distance mining here on that natural, but he preserved so many of those Archons alive for the longest time.
And look at this, Hydra here. Let's think about this tournament and how it's gone down thus far. Round of 32, he lost to Lilbow there. That's the only loss he's taken. One map going the way of Lilbow at the start of this finals is something that might shake him a little bit. Because if you think of how much it means, Hydra wants to get a win on the board against the only person he has lost here in the tournament so far. But taking that loss could really hurt.
But not just that, Lilbow has so much momentum. Hydra surely identified that, and now he lost the first map. He must be wondering, is this guy seriously this good and invincible?
Yeah.
Why am I struggling so much against him?
Well, we are now getting into game #2, ladies and gentlemen. The non-Korean takes the lead. Can he hold on to it here against a determined Hydra as we get into Expedition Lost? To the bottom left-hand corner, it is the man himself representing Team Roots. It is Hydra! And up to the top right-hand corner, our blue Protoss. He gets the upper hand in the very first game. Can he continue on? Representing Team Millennium, it is Lilbow!
Again, I want to remind you guys of that time when they played in round 32 and this map was played. Lilbow back then went for a 4-gate all-in with a lot of gateway units. And he basically abused the fact that the third base on this map is very, very far away from the natural. Warped in a lot of Stalkers, got in Hydra's face, and warped in just too many units with good control and killed him right out. That was actually, I think, the final map when they played, and that closed the deal for him. So a Nexus, a quick Nexus after Gateway here, possibly with the gas as well, is what I expect out of Lilbow, and then from there, possibly something similar. But again, Hydra is expecting it so much that he would make it a lot less good than the first time that he did it.
Yeah. Hydra here cannot let doubt set in. He cannot let that continue and let it linger. He is looking for one opportunity.
Wow.
For one opportunity.
To take the gold base.
To take the gold base. But also to find himself a little bit of momentum, pulling it back here against Lilbow. The gold base has been taken. The probe here was avidly designed to spot things like this. But Hydra, reading the maneuvering of that probe with his Overlord's position and his Overlord vision, has been able to sneak around for now.
Lilbow's got to confirm that very, very quickly here. And it's actually a very delicate situation for him from there, because against the gold base, you kind of feel compelled to play aggressive, try and shut it down. But with the opener that he's gone for, it's going to be really, really hard. You can't try one base. No one base would succeed. So I think he's just going to go for the Nexus standard, add on gateways, and then try to go for some kind of gateway aggression. either, you know, some very strong one or light gateway aggression while he builds up his own economy.
All right, and looks like he will be taking his Nexus all a while. And we will now see falling on back here. Lilbow has the upper hand. He looks as calm and collected as ever, unbelievably. I expected him to come in a little bit nervous. The drone transfer coming out from Hydra now, heading over towards the gold base, wants to make as much use of that gold base as possible early on. These drones are worth far more over here just as it's about to hatch. So good timing by Hydra to get that going and looking to buy himself a little bit of time. Breaking those rocks down with the Zerglings. He knows that base is closer. He absolutely 100% knows that. All of these knock-on effects will slow Lilbow down if he's to launch an earlier attack. I
think there's a very good chance Lilbow is about to drop down at least 3 gateways here, in which case it'd go up to 4. Behind this, usually you get a sentry, you know, to wall off, have a force field available, and then you can choose how aggressive you want to be with this. You know, you can do a fake sometimes where you keep on making probes back at home, not necessarily chrono boosted, but at least you make them continuously while you force units out of your opponent, and then you pull ahead economically.
Already the creep spread being sent from that middle base now, not only to connect up probably the base behind it so he can get reinforcements over there quickly, but the Queen at the front signifies that he wants to spread forwards as well, quite rapidly here. So for now, Lilbow, with this probe, has snuck around a little bit.
Only 2 additional gates, by the way, by Lilbow. He didn't go up to 4, he just went up to 3.
This pylon in no man's land in essence, but yeah, why is that probe come from that direction? He's got to be a little bit careful here.
That is a huge tail here. Gonna try to get a cancel on that Cryptum. Not gonna get it. Lilbow taking a lot of damage on the mothership core here early on. He can't let that happen.
No, he does not. He certainly doesn't want a recall to be forced down here.
There's so many links here already available.
Oh, they walk into vision. He now knows there's a pylon down there as well here, does Hydra. He's going to send the Lings over in that direction, one would think. Spinecrawler's going to reposition itself because he knows that's where the reinforcements are going to be coming from.
Yeah, behind this Lilbow is still making probes very continuously here. I wonder what his plan is. He might drop down I think a Robo and go for some kind of immortal attack.
Maybe.
He can keep on warping in units and also make probes at the same time. Like, he has a good enough economy already to do that with the income that he has.
These Zealots, I mean, are they designed to do big damage or are they just designed to force units?
One more gate so far, Kailash is going to make more. These Zealots are designed to force as many units out as possible from Hydra. And look at this, he's only making Zerglings right now. So we have actually 35 probes to 29 drones, but that's with a gold base.
Yeah, that will be making up the difference a little bit, that's for sure. That 4th gateway is something that he has to be a little bit careful of course.
There's a few more gateways. Yeah. He's gonna commit to this. And Hydra is not scouting anything with his overlord in Lilbow's main. So as much as he's making units and spines, he's getting 1 spine in the main.
You're right. It all makes sense. I mean, the Hydralisk then going down, Hydra really needs these extra added power units, but does he have the economy to be able to fuel it? These units started warping in so early on that all he's made is units. He hasn't snuck in any drones either. Hydra is playing with fear at the moment. He knows that this is a very, very scary position for him to be in. Time Warp goes down. He wants to get on top of those Queens with the Zealots alone. Ling's going to flood in from every single angle. Will it be enough, though, to work against all of these Zealots that he has available? The Mothership Core does end up going down. That's still a lot of Zerglings available, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. It looks like he will be able to win out on top side here against those Zealots. Lilbow has understood this engagement, and Hydra will be able to clean it on up.
Hydra knew from the very first engagement that he was going to basically come out ahead. He started drones as this engagement began, basically, as well as Groove Spine. So he's going to be pumping out Hydralisk, and when you only have gateway units against Hydralisk, unless you have a lot of sentry and your name is Sparting, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
And Lilbow replenished his Mothership Core super quick. It is back up and running. He's got to be careful about these Ling counterattacks trying to hit something. The Lings actually saw the full wall off here from Lilbow, so now he's just got to make units. And thankfully, because of him defending the previous attack, he has the Hydralisk Den, he has Hydras on the way, but he still needs to buy just that little bit more time.
Yeah. And I think Lilbow is giving that time here right now. He's trying to defend his pylon on the right-hand side. The Zerglings are going to run around. Lots of Hydralisk and Zerglings here in production. Hydra is on 38 drones against 36 probes, but I think he doesn't care as long as he can get enough. And with the 3 spines, I think, especially if he targets the sentries here.
Guardian Shield goes up, transfuse onto the first spine caller, second transfuse as well. He doesn't really have that many range units here to deal with this with the Zealots. And now a few more filtering in from the right-hand side. But Hydra can slowly start chipping away at this. He's kept most of the spine callers alive. The Hydra's been for reinforcement. Hydra is seizing this game at the moment. And Lilbow doesn't have much steam left behind, only Zealots alone, Todd.
Yeah, it's going to be the last attempt here with the few units. GG.
GG. Hydra gets himself a win on the board in the best of 7. And that feeling, that reassurance that you can stop some of these more aggressive moves here from Lilbow has got to be very comforting for Hydra to get that first W there.
Yeah, Hydra played the map here in a way where Lilbow just couldn't do the same build that he did last time against him, and he just really kind of threw him off the way Hydra opened with the gold base, basically. Lilbow felt compelled to be super aggressive early on. And I think that first move out with the Zealots was a little bit too early. You know, he threw down a force field that did absolutely nothing, that couldn't even shield his Zealot later on from some of the Zergling surface area against his Zealots. We're going to see the fight here. He had quite a few Zealots, but Hydra waited and hit his Zergling so well. It's almost as if those Queens were a bait here.
Almost, yeah.
He wanted the Time Warp and Force Field to happen there, and then he surrounded all of it.
Every angle. Every single angle. And this was the moment where Hydra breathes that sigh of relief, kind of composes himself and says, I defeated that attack. I know I'm in the driving seat in this game. I know that I can win this game.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool to see more and more games here from these guys in these grand finals. The next map is actually going to be Echo, as we see here the final moments. This force field is funny, like they didn't really do anything.
I mean, yeah, exactly. If you look at how the Queens are tucked in behind the spine crawlers there, it's very difficult for the Zealots alone, with the Zealot Sentry composition, to really get on top of the units that they want and everything like that. The transfuses also as well, working out meticulously. Echo will be our map, as you mentioned here, going into game number 3. And
the last time that these two played on this map, Hydra tried for a pull 9, which was defended very easily. You know, Lilbow, he quite likes to open with Gateway.
Yeah.
With or without gas. A lot of time he's going to be with the gas early on and then going to a Nexus. So against this build order, going for a rush with Zerglings is not going to be really good at all. When you go for a pull 9, I think you kind of hope your opponents, you know, playing greedy, going for that quick Nexus, no gas and all that.
One thing's for sure is that Lilbow has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. We've seen that in his other matchups throughout the entire couple of days here in Toronto, and now he's exhibiting a few of those as well against Hydra. In first game, obviously, that Zealot Archon composition. Game number 2, trying to go for something a little bit more aggressive, almost having his hand forced potentially there. But now we can get into game number 3 to see what else he has tucked away here in the grand final. So up to the top left, it is our red Zerg representing Team Roots. Give it up for Hydra! And down to the bottom right-hand corner, we have our blue Protoss. Representing the non-Korean realm and Millennium, it is Lilbow!
You know, all of a sudden, we find ourselves in a situation where both of these players, they've smashed their way through this tournament. Hydra only lost to Lilbow. Lilbow didn't lose to anybody so far. And it's 1-1. Hydra brings him back in second game and tells to himself and to everybody, I can do this. Yeah. I can do this. I just did it. I just have to pick the right build order, react properly to what he's doing, and I can beat this guy. And Lilbow, on the other hand, he has to be, you know, a little bit starting to doubt here about himself. You know, Roddy mentioned very nicely that some of these maps are very, very hard to deal with, and I think Expedition Lost is one of them. You know, with the gold base. So as much as you have to keep this in mind, there is always, you know, situations where on maps it's going to be hard to deal with some of the stuff that a Zerg can do.
And you as a previous pro gamer yourself, Todd, I mean, going into a game number 2 like that, having to, you know, use a build like that against a player like Hydra, that you have taken a game off, you have taken a series off. Does that shake you? Does that put you in a position where, okay, he can take maps, or considering the build, considering it was something that was extremely aggressive, can Lilbow say, well, I have a lot more?
Yeah, getting over a loss like this is actually really hard, you know, mentally. Yeah. Because from the start, you know, your opponent does something and forces you to react to it, and then you're like, well, I have to do this and this to counter it. But then what you do fails. So if you start questioning yourself too much, it's definitely gonna be bad. So Lilbow, he definitely, you know, should move on from the previous map, consider it, you know, a misstep, and then start thinking all about Echo here right now, our map.
All right, well, we already see some developments here in this game. Triple hatch opener here from Hydra with his spawning pool very delayed in that regard because he's invested so much into the economy start of this game. Going up against the Nexus and this gateway opener with some extra gas been added on, and he will eventually go into that with the cybernetics core now on the way. Hydra's seen the Nexus, he's seen what he needs to find. Lilbow, did he actually see any other hatcheries? I don't even think
he didn't scout. He didn't scout anything. He's been scouting very little. If Hydra picks up on this fact, there is a chance we're going to see some Zergling rushes here very, very soon. Remember, he tried one of those in round 32 and got shut down hard. But now Lilbow, he's been mixing it up a lot. It almost feels as if, you know, if you're Hydra and say, for example, you get a favorable map for a Ling rush that's going to be hard to spot, like Iron Fortress, you're going to have a good chance to maybe catch Lilbow off guard. But the thing is, Lilbow adjusts his builds from map to map, and he takes a lot of factors into consideration. So that'd be very risky and could backfire easily.
Mothership core even begins at the natural, so if anything were to come along, it would be in the right place in the right time to be able to just ward a Zergling away or something like that. 4 Zerglings in produce have been here by Hydra, as he knows that this Zealot is en route and will be moving across here.
It's so funny, like Lilbow's first scout is literally this Zealot and this Mothership core.
Yeah.
The original non-scouting Protoss from France, Adel Scott, inspired us for generations with the trend that he used of basically never scouting.
Doesn't want to lose a probe to these links. They will split themselves off and make themselves a little bit of a hindrance here for this Stalker. Nice Sash will kill off one of the probes out the front, maybe even get him a second one. Gather some more momentum here in this series. If you can get that, that will be fantastic. He gets another probe with just 2 Zerglings alone at the front. Obviously, the 2 sacrificing themselves in the main was kind of important, but now here comes the Zealot and Mothership core, trying to put some pressure on towards the Queen, running back, getting out of range of this Zealot. Second Queen's going to look to reinforce. This Zealot will not get too much done at all, and actually, he's got to be very careful with that. He's maneuvering it just so that the Queens can't pursue off creep.
Yeah, not quite a ruddy Mothership core because he's going to escape, but got close. Metabolic boost here. He's going to start here just now. Well, that's actually really late. If Lilbow had gone for like some big aggression with, you know, a bunch of Stalkers on that third base, he could have done quite a bit of damage. Did yeah, Warpgate seems a little bit late actually. I think he delayed Warpgate quite a bit himself. You know, 7 minutes and he's not nearing completion. About 10 seconds out now, so maybe delay that a little bit here. +1 should start here momentarily, and it's going to be actually, I think, the standard baguette opener here.
Yeah.
Where you get the third base, you build up a lot of sentries, you scout a lot, much like in Vanny, except in Vanny, he went for charge, which actually brought him success. Kind of surprised me. Usually, you know, when you go for this style, it's much better to get a lot of Blink Stalkers because then you're opening yourself up for a lot of potential aggressions that you can go for and timings. You can recall out if you get in trouble, and Blink Stalkers, well, they're good against everything.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, especially in the hands of Lilbow.
Except Ultras.
Except Ultras, yeah.
But we got Immortals, so it's okay.
That's true, that's true. You can just make some malls and you'll be fine. Unless you've got, I mean, even critical mass Stalkers don't do too bad, but if you've got Ultras, a lot of the times you've got some Fungals, and it can get a bit messy. Anyway, Sentries, already a lot of them, gonna just move out into the middle of the field here, and oftentimes this can alone force out quite a few units here from a Zerg. I mean, you can see already 4 Overlords on the way, trying to open up the taps here for some units, but 68 workers. His economy is fantastic right now, and he doesn't really need to make more drones at all.
Yeah.
Oh,
he goes into Aspire. I was wondering
as well.
I was wondering if this was going to be mass roaches here, but Hydra, I guess, with rushing up to those 6 extractors here, is going to have quite a bit of gas to work with. So the plan is going to be pumping out roaches, maybe some links in support to defend whatever is being thrown at him, whatever aggression, you know, whatever poke, and then behind this going to Mutas, much like we saw Jedong do earlier. Oh wow, that's a beautiful donut, Kailaris.
His force fields have been on point pretty good here throughout the entirety of the tournament so far. He catches himself some roaches, just going to back on out. He does have the recall on the Mothership core if he needs it, so I don't think he's going to have to use it.
Blink this time? Yes. Okay, Blink. So Lilbow's going to play it a little bit more standard. Needs to double force field here to get away. Wow, he's using so many force fields. He's not going to have too many hallucinations to work with. He has a single one right now. Yes, a single one, Kailaris. So seeing that Spire, is going to be super unlikely, especially since it's hidden.
Just wants to slow down those roaches here. He knows he didn't have a huge amount of army, and this is kind of annoying, kind of annoying to deal with, because there is the potential here that Hydra behind this. Look at it, he's banking up gas, he's banking up minerals. He's going to be making that Muta transition, which Lilbow's got to be careful about.
This actually forced more sentries here out of Lilbow, whereas ideally he'd like to be making a lot of Stalkers here.
Hydra Sen's gone down as well now. Look at this. Wow, Hydra in game number 3. This is beautiful stuff.
How did the link get into the main?
I don't know. I'm not quite sure. But the Hydra Sen going down, he's going to try and make a lot of tech switches here. It might just be 8 Mutalisks. Really put the fear into Lilbow in this series early on, and then really keep him guessing. But the hallucination is now moving out to try and get some information here. Yeah,
it's going to see that there is a Hydra then, so it's going to be really hard for him to, kind of know about the spy, which, by the look of things, right now, Hydra has no intention to use, at least for now.
Mutalisks are positioning themselves on the left-hand side, going to dive into the main base. Actually contaminate, a great move there by Hydra as well. He's really bringing it to Lilbow now. We're really trying to find some of the kills. Probes will fall. He's going to go into the main base. There's no protection here just yet with a photon overcharge now going down.
I think Lilbow's planning a timing, by the way. No second gas on the third base. He dropped down a bunch of gateways. Lilbow is going to mass Stalkers, and I think he's going to be attacking here real soon after he finally shuts down these Mutas a little bit, gets a few cannons in his middle lines, but Hydra definitely doing a fantastic job here of buying time, and behind this, he's going to be pumping out a ton of Hydralisks and Roaches.
Yeah, 14 kills from those Mutalisks. Yes, he sacrificed a few, but it was a lot of economy damage. Now, though, buying time behind this for Hydra to have a good Roach Hydra base himself, and this is Baguette Protoss, man. This is Sentries, this is Blink Stalkers, +2 weapons on the way, about to finish, or pretty soon. It was slowed down by that Contaminate. It would be done by now.
Mutas, they did so much work. Finally, the photon overcharge is going to be used. They're not moving away. They're going to be sacrificed for probes, and Lilbow is grown very desperate. 24, 26 probes died, even more. And now he's on 86 army supply against 122. He's going to need one hell of a fight to win this, and some very good force fields.
And he's going to throw down some on the left-hand side here, trying to divide and conquer, sealing the units off up to the top right. That's a lot of Hydralisks that he's missing out from this fight. Sentries and Stalkers going to fight on against this. Mutalisks in back, still doing some damage. But Lilbow here, with 80 army supply against 112, is going to blink forwards aggressively, try and bring down some of these Hydralisks, kind of catch a few more off guard. 19 Roaches in production, though. And I'm not sure how many more Stalkers they're going to be here for Lilbow, because a lot of his economy was killed off.
This wasn't enough, and more probes died, up to 37 right now. The Mutas finally start dying. There's only 3 of them left, but Lilbow cannot attack into this. Look at this. Hydra sets up a perfect concave. You can't attack into these force fields or not. They're not going to do anything. I think he's going to try to surprise you on the left-hand side, but with that Overlord up there, giving vision to Hydra, he can set up early enough not to fall for this.
He's being chipped away at it. The more time he spends out here without defense back at home, the Mutas are still killing
8 kills.
43 workers, 45 go down just to these Mutalisks alone. This lovely transition from Hydra has been able to do crippling.
How many Mutas was that? Like 7?
8.
8 Mutas killed 45 probes? Not bad.
Not bad at all. Not
the death squad, man.
That being said, he still has 48 workers, so commendable here for Lilbow to still have that kind of economy ground down. And now
he's behind Kailaris, so it's time for the Dark Shrine.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, time for the Dark Shrine.
No Spore in any of the bases, but some Overseers are on the map. Actually, Lilbow is going to be trapped. Oh, he's going to try to walk into the natural, buys himself some time with the force fields.
Tries to throw them all down, just going to walk all the way up. Actually blinks forwards here to try and do some damage, and he seals him out. There's no way here that Hydra can actually get back in. The Mothership Core is going to die off on the right-hand side, so there is no way out of here in time to recall, and he's going to get a lot done.
He knows that he cannot get up the ramp, so he's going to go across the map and try and kill Lilbow. How many Overseers is there? There is a single one.
Oh, Lilbow, he's found a lot of the static defense that we're seeing here from Hydra to try and keep this away. He thought he was going to throw it down at the third base, but Lilbow was too clever for it, because that was the potential place that he would not hit.
There is a single Overseer, Kailaris, and the Dark Shrine's about to finish. If that Overseer gets sniped, and Lilbow can buy time with DTs back at home, or even slaying a lot of this army, he's going to be in a fantastic position. But Hydra has so much supply anyway. It's going to be really hard for Lilbow to pull this off.
The army supply, 56 against 116 pristine at the moment. He's trading off a little bit of it here, but he needs to be so cost efficient with these Stalkers. He needs to be so cost efficient. He doesn't have the means by which to replenish a lot of minerals, but what do you really put that in Zealots? It's not really going to help out too much against the Roach Hydra base that we're seeing here from Hydra.
I think Lilbow forgot that he had a Dark Shrine there. He doesn't even have that much gas anymore because he warped in sentries up the ramp. The Overseer is actually going to fall. He warps in a DT at the natural, but just a single one.
He killed the Overseer. He killed the Overseer. This is on Jack Templar. He couldn't technically. I think he still has a layer right in the main base. And he needs to be able to actually get a few more Overseers morphed in. 2 are morphing in now. He realizes that that is the problem. 64 army supply against 24. It's only going to be Zealots that he's warping in without charge against this ranged army. It's going to be difficult for Lilbow, surely.
I don't think Lilbow realized quite early enough here how much he needed to snipe that Overseer and warp in DTs. Probably doesn't lane with DTs nearly as much as I do, because that's all I was thinking about, man. But here in this game, he's down to very little units. 28 army supply to 76. Hydra took so much damage, but Lilbow took way more, man.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
entire natural wiped out the third base as well. What are you doing here, Hydras?
He needs to. That's actually quite a smart move. Try and morph in Archons. They would be your one saving grace up against the army of Hydra, but he just doesn't have the gas for it.
Did you see the minerals of Lilbow during all of this? He went up to
2,000 or so.
Yeah, 2,200. That was so much. I don't know why he struggled to make units. Wasn't paying nearly as much attention to the macro here as much as he should have, I think.
And now Hydra is looking for the killing blow with this Roach and Hydra force. It's going to be difficult here for Lilbow to really hold on against. He sees the Spire now. Too little, too late, my friend. Walling this off, getting some force fields down, making sure that this army is not going to breach on forwards. But here in game number 3, Hydra...
He loses the sentry that had 2 force fields, so Hydra is going to go up that ramp here.
And he'll easily walk on up. Just target down those range units, and then you can kite down the Zealots the whole time long, as he will be able to push forwards here, kill off the majority of this army. The Archon is all that remains. GG. Hydra takes game number 3. He takes the lead in this best of 7 after some extremely intelligent play from him. The tech switches, the way in which he used those Mutalisks, fantastic stuff.
Yeah, since when those 8 Mutas killed 45 probes? I don't think I'd ever seen that, man. That was some insane control he had of him and insane use of that hidden Spire. Behind this, just very, very good macro, got enough Roaches and Hydras. A lot of Zergs would have died to that counter-attack that...
All right, so that is game 3. 2-1 here in favor of Hydra. We're going to head over to the analysis desk to see what they think of our grand finals so far.
Thank you very much, Kalaris and Todd, joined here by In Control and Rotterdam. A fantastic start for the Frenchman, using a very unique style. And it really did surprise Hydra, and he had a fantastic boost going into this series, and everyone was like, okay, this could be it. But things didn't continue the way that Lilbow wanted them to go, Roddy.
No, you could say like it was after game 1, like it's happening. And I was like, okay, let's take it easy, guys. You know, it's not over yet. I mean, game 1 was unique from both sides, right? Even also, I mean, Lilbow's style was crazy. Charge lots, Archons. It's been a while since we've seen that, absolutely. But we saw Swarmers being used by Hydra, not something we see very often. I would say Vonnie, one of the very few maps for that exact reason why he sniped at Nexus, why it can still be viable. But overall, it was really solid what Lilbow did. Game number 2. I don't think it was the end of the world. If I'm taking a look at some of the final moments of game number 1, I mean, these Archons, man, they were really beefy.
Yeah, they did a lot of damage, and this style we haven't really seen too often. Why was this such an effective style to use, Jeff?
Well, I mean, what was not shown here was actually a large Roach fight just before Archon started to come into the scene. But then they did show up, and they were frozen on that ramp, getting huge AoE damage. I feel like had Hydra been a little bit more patient, scouted out this tech, and then gone with like Roach Hydra Infestor off of 4 bases, he would have fared better. But by thinning out his forces, he was always on his back foot.
All right, well, that was game 1 there. Let's go into game number 2. So game number 2, Rotterdam, not a very good map for Lilbow. It's a map that you never play as a Protoss play. When you're going ladder, you get rid of this map. So when it comes into a best of 7, you have to play the maps you're not very good on. He played this, and I think we discussed it quite well up here before, and we'll let everyone else know what we were talking about, is that you choose a strategy like this and just saying, okay, I'm going to go with it. I don't like this map. I'm not very good on this map. I haven't practiced it. And he chose a strategy which got shut down.
Yeah, and it was even like, it was a little bit of everything, right? It was like 3-gate pressure. I'm going to continue doing 3-gate pressure. And then you get this awkward moment as Protoss like, I'm not sure how this is going. But what I can do is add a couple more gateways and turn it into like half a 6-gate. And Zealots are good against Zerglings, right, guys? Right? Well, they are, but not if you get surrounded from all angles when there are 2 queens working on it. And above all, there is this Spinecrawler unleashing so much damage.
And this was the turning point of Lilbow's grand finals, because he chose this and it very well could have worked, but it got spotted early and it was dealt with early. And leading into game number 3, things just started to crumble and started to go wrong. And for the first time, he met resistance in this tournament and he got shut down in that game. And Roddy, Jeff, I mean, me and Roddy were talking about it, but Jeff, mistakes were made over and over and over again in game 3, and he wasn't looking the same confident Lilbow that we've seen throughout the rest of the tournament.
That's one of the things that can happen, especially when you've been kind of knocked off your horse a little bit, losing that game number 2 after winning game number 1, like we discussed. And in game number 3, just 8 Mutalisks killing 45 probes, like Todd talked about. Obviously, this is an anomaly, I would say, for the most part. I think if Lilbow plays this game again, he's not like, you know, I probably will ignore those mutas again. I don't think they're going to do that kind of damage. No, they do. He got a little bit tunnel visioned. He got a little bit focused on being the aggressor. And in doing so, he had his economy chopped up behind him. Now, I think what's kind of cool about him and pushing forward and gives hope to the rest of the people that are cheering for Lilbow is despite losing 45 probes, he made this game exceptionally close against a solid 4-base Zerg. And that's something that a lot of Protoss look at and drool.
I want to go even further on that. I felt there was a small missed opportunity when he was counter-attacking. Because you think about maybe 16 supply on the other side of the map. There were 20 roaches on the production tab. That's 40 supply, 6, 7 Hydras. The remaining forces of Hydra were not all that big. And I felt the round of 32, round of 16 Lilbow, I really don't want to make this bigger than it is, but we've seen like super confident play out of him. Whenever he saw an opportunity, capitalized on it, blinked forward.
Exactly, right.
There was a moment he could have blinked forward. His army was stronger. Of course, there was a lot on the production tab. But if he takes out those units, a lot of the other units pop one by one, maybe he could have made a ridiculous comeback.
Roddy, game 1, very decisive. Game 2, even though it didn't work, very decisive. Game 3, starting to question himself. And this is the problem he's running into, right? And this is something he has to address leading into game number 4.
Yeah, you can't second guess yourself in StarCraft, especially not on this level. Hydra is not going to give you a whole lot of opportunities to get great engagements, to get superior fights when your army is simply bigger. And yeah, that shocked me a little bit. And Todd mentioned it as well. The macro fell a little bit apart. Of course, those mutas, you know, they disrupted everything. But a player like Lilbow should always know what to do with 2,000 minerals.
But this is fantastic for Hydra now. Going down map number 1, leads into game number 2, and is picking on his opponent. He's seen these weaknesses, and he's becoming stronger and stronger the longer this goes on. We are going to go back to the commentary team in a quick second, so thank you very much, gentlemen, for your expert analysis. We will be back shortly if the game continues to take its twists and turns. We'll see as we head back to the casting desk.
All right, it's time for game 4 now here in this grand finals, as Lilbow, as they've said, has now faced a little bit of adversity here in the past couple of days. This is one of the first times it's happened to him, and how is he going to be able to handle it?
It's actually the first time. He's not used of it, man.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
He needs to get used to it, because against Hydra, it's far from over.
Potentially. All right, we're going to get into game number 4 now here in the grand finals, as we do have our map loaded up and good to go. These two players hungry for that trophy, hungry for the title of champion here at the World Championship Series. As we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner, it is our Red Zerg representing Team Roots. It is Hydra. And to the bottom left-hand corner, it is our blue Protoss. Needs to keep his composure, needs to keep that confidence from all tournament long. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Lilbow.
Hydra up 2-1 here. Remember, this is a best of 7, so not quite match point here yet for Hydra. But if you're Lilbow here, you win the first game and then you go on to losing the next 2, you know, after some pretty obvious mistakes and, you know, maybe not your best play. Surely he has to be very worried. I'm a little bit worried, you know, that he might start, you know, falling apart under the pressure, in which case, if he loses this map, it's going to be really, really hard to win these finals and start a comeback.
And if he does, that will give Hydra all the fuel he needs to have redemption from Season 1. the position where he felt so comfortable, the 3-0 up against Paul in the Grand Finals in Season 1, was ripped away from him, could be made up here today. He is so close. 2 games away is Hydra. But Lilbow, as you said, if he can keep himself collected, he can certainly rival. He can.
Yeah. Horizontal close spawn here is going to make this game really, really interesting, actually. You know, they're going to be pretty close. And it's going to be very hard for either to get very good engagements, you know, because as a Protoss player, you're going to try to fight where it's a little bit more narrow. Yeah, like around here, in one of these corners. With just a few force fields, you can section off a big chunk of the Zerg army a lot of the time. Whereas for the Zerg, you're going to have to, you know, kind of sit back, try to find and force engagements in very open spaces, so that force fields don't matter all that much.
For now, we will see Lilbow just heading on down with this probe scout to see exactly what's going on. And eventually, he will find his opponent in these close by ground spawning
Is Lilbow going for a gold base?
No.
Look at his probe.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. What?
Hydra. He has an overload nearby. He's barely gonna miss it.
Oh my god.
He's gonna miss it.
Oh my god. He needs to have links. Four links are in production, Todd.
That's a Has build, man. Has, I've seen him do that before. And the thing is, Hydra he's gonna find out about this very, very late here. He has enough, look at this, he has enough gas to start metabolic boost here, speedling, but he's not starting it because he doesn't know. If he knew, he'd definitely start that to try and use the mobility of the Zerglings to achieve something.
Yeah, and as time goes on here with the links, they'll eventually, there he does. He does now start metabolic boost, needs it out there. Mothership Core can move out towards that location, but the problem is that because these bases are so far apart from each other, photon overcharge is going to be so important to where he sees it. He does see it now. The wall-off is amassing here as well, and the links are going to go straight for the pylon here, but that Mothership Core will be able to respond. He's going to go for Burrow. Burrow of all things, Todd.
Whoa. Interesting. I don't think he can get the pylon here, because there's going to be a Zealot here coming in there. And right now, Hydra is getting a lot of links. I think he might just be going for pure links here. We'll see if he drones here in a second. His overload just finished. Lilbow with the gold base here. He's
transferring to it.
And 16 more links, by the way. Why Burrow, though?
He's only making links. He's not making anything else.
I don't really understand why he's getting Burrow. Does he want to try and set up some kind of trap? Because, like, offensively, unless you have roaches, Burrow here doesn't make that much sense, I think. I thought Lilbow, by the way, was going to throw down a pylon between his Nexus and mineral lines, so that he can wall it off with just like one Zealot. You know?
The crazy thing is that speed was cancelled and restarted. So, or the Burrow was cancelled.
Oh my god!
The Burrow was cancelled. So, not wanting to go for that path. He realizes he couldn't get anything.
That's a huge mess up here, by the way. Like, Hydra is going to restart mining here from his extractor. I think a Roach Warren here definitely would help against, you know, in both situations, offensively and defensively, because if he only gets Zerglings and Lilbow identifies that and just doesn't fight and turtles, when he gets the critical mass of Zealots and Sentries that he needs to fight this, he's going to be in a fantastic position. Lilbow walled off his main ramp here in his main base. He left one single Sentry there. He's going to warp in a lot of units and try and basically get a good fight. Hydra's best chance is getting a good surround.
Look at these aggressive moves Lilbow keeps taking here, really wanting to bring the fight to Hydra very, very early on.
There is no recall.
The Roach Warren is on the way, but it might be too late because of the way in which these bases work out. Ling's actually sneaking into the back, though. Going to try and get on top of some of these probes. He'll kill off that entire mineral line before Lilbow can even react. Pylon is down here, was protected by those force fields. Ling's are actually going to go to work here on the Nexus. And as you said, you know, with the Mothership Core not really having much energy, he can't even throw down photon overcharge, and those links are always going to be threatening.
Lilbow didn't close the door here, and Hydra behind this is getting 20 more links. Roach production here will start momentarily with the first 4. He has a spine crawler in defense. Lilbow is on the ropes here. He needs to make something happen. He's going to go for the attack.
Has Hydra bought time here? It looks like he may have done it. The links come in from every single angle. The 2 force fields at the back trying to choke all of this off. Sentry ends up falling. Still a lot of links here. 10 roaches are about to pop out. Hydra is forcing this back. He's going to force back the Mothership Core as well. In fact, he's going to kill it off. That's all that is left is just a few Zealots here. GG. Hydra takes a 3-1 lead here in this grand final. And look how happy he is. He knows he is on the verge of this championship. And now doubt must be setting in in the mind of our Wonder Boy, because right now, scratching his head and wondering how he's going to come to terms with this position that he is in, because he is one game away from losing it all, and it all comes off the back of these aggressive move, Tods.
Yeah.
Are these aggressive moves because he's feeling the pressure? Is he feeling that Hydra will be able to shut him down in a longer game? What is going on here for Lilbow?
I think it just depends on the map. You know, he wanted to take a risk here with that build order. He wanted to adjust to the map. Probably wasn't very confident in general on it. And in the end, it's just Hydra's read and defense that's just perfect. These engagements, like, as you see the Zerglings come in every single time, you already realize that the Protoss army is gonna die. Like, look at the Lynx. They're gonna swoop in here at the natural. They kill all the probes. Then they came from behind at the army, surrounded it. Remember, there was no recall because Photon Overcharge was forced super early, which was another good move here by Hydra. And in the end, he's just outplaying the French player here right now.
And he's one game away from that championship. The championship that he has sought after all 2015 so far. Second place at Gfinity 1, second place at Gfinity 2, second place at the World Championship Series in Season 1. And now he's one game away from taking first place that he felt he should have had last season. Cactus Valley is going to be our next map here, Todd. And Lilbow cannot let it slip. He has to regain all of that power he's had for all tournament long. All tournament long, he has to regain that focus that he used to defeat Hydra in the round of 32. Can he do it?
I think so, Kailaris, but it's gonna be hard. Hydra is playing out of his mind here right now. Nobody has been able to counter Lilbow's build so far in this tournament and to defend his attacks, except this man here on your screen. Hydra doing a fantastic job of reading into everything that's happening, even though, you know, he saw that gold base a little bit late. Didn't really matter. He was already gonna go for metabolic boost anyway, and then he did a brilliant move, actually, you know, hiding the Zerglings on the top right-hand side before sending them into the gold.
Yes.
That's why Lilbow really didn't expect that and didn't wall it off. He thought that all of the units of Hydra were going to be in his natural. It's really, you know, sometimes that star sense, being able to anticipate all of these things that separates a very good player from a potential champion like Hydra.
Every single time Hydra seems to have these angles covered. I mean, we've watched this series unfold, and every single attack, every single counter has been in the right place for Hydra. Those counters into the mineral lines, those surrounds on Zealots from Lynx, from every single angle. It keeps happening again and again and again, to the point where Lilbow now surely has to try and change things up. Do you feel that the next maps coming up are a bit more of a home feeling here for Lilbow, for him to try and mount this kind of comeback?
It depends the state of mind he's in. If he really gets desperate here, I could totally see him try something, you know, like a 4 gate, 5 gates, you know, something really, really aggressive, which would be very risky because Hydra has so much momentum. He's been reading into everything perfectly. I think I'd like, for Lilbow, like, I think his best chance definitely would be something like, you know, taking a third base and going into, you know, a lot of sentries, blink stalkers, scouting, and all that, and just trying to play his usual game, you know, trying to play well in general in a longer game rather than being super aggressive and getting shut down like before.
Hydra looks calm. Hydra looks confident now getting into game number 5. He's one game away from being crowned the champion here of the World Championship Series Season 2. Let's get into it. Game number 5, spawning up to the top left-hand corner. It has our red Zerg. One game away from becoming the champion. It is Roots Hydra. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, this could potentially be his last opportunity here in Toronto, representing Millennium. Give it up for Lilbow.
Hydra, who lifetime has a pretty good record against Lilbow. You know, they've met 4 times. All of those 4 encounters happened this year, and he only lost the 1 time when they met in the round of 32. They played very, very recently, I guess actually around a month ago in Online Cup finals, and Hydra back then already won 2-0, and that was after they played in round 32. So Hydra doing well most of the time against Lilbow. He only lost that 1 time in the round 32, and here again in the grand finals, doing well. Lilbow right now, he's gonna need to use his best mindsets really to get back in it because he has a very tall order ahead of him.
You're totally right. I mean, let's look at how Lilbow has gone through this tournament so far. He has defeated some really, really strong opponents, not only in Marine Lord and his teammate in the round of 8, but now then going on to Bunny in the round of 4. Lilbow has shown no fear of any other player in the entire tournament apart from Hydra. He did not want to play him in the bracket in the round of 8 moving forwards, and he has to meet him here in the grand final. He cannot let these doubts sink in. He cannot let that dictate the outcome of this series. He's got to just buckle down. He's got to play this one out slow. I think he should try and take this one long, maybe even, and see how he's able to face off against the Hydra, who is 1 game away from utter victory.
Historically, actually, his PVZ has always been one of his strongest, if not his strongest matchup. So, always been really good at it. But I guess at times, you know, he's had to really focus on Terran as well, because that was, you know, a matchup where he struggled a little bit here and there. And I guess maybe he's neglected his PVZ and lost a little bit of level. But overall, the games that we've seen from him recently against Zerg were still very, very impressive. And he can definitely go head-to-head, toe-to-toe here with somebody like Hydra.
It will be double hat-trick going off the back of the spawning pool at the back here for Hydra. So he's already got the Queen moving on down to aid the natural. We'll be getting the Queen out as well here. Lilbow, Zealot on the way, Mothership Core on the way, Nexus on the way. As the Zergling will now enter to look around. A little bit of a peek. See what he can find.
Actually doing a bit of scouting here earlier than we saw him do before with the 1 probe that he's sending out on the map. I'm guessing double additional gateways here will be added on pretty quickly. And warp gates is being still out here out of Lilbow, so not much to worry about. Like, this is standard to at least go for 1 or 2 of the chrono boost here on the warp gates rather than probes, unless you're very greedy.
And Probe did confirm the 3rd hat-trick behind all of this as well for the scout here.
And he pulled back before he was spotted, so aggression time here, quite possibly.
Is he going to go for it again? There's the pylon, Lilbow. I mean, there's been many, many times here in this series already where his aggression at the beginning of a game has not worked out. Hydra is completely been on lockdown throughout these games, and he's got himself really good engagements with Zerglings. Lilbow is going back to a very, very powerful strategy early on, but it hasn't worked for him just yet.
If Lilbow warped in Stalkers here, there is no speed on the way. He might be able to kite endlessly here on that 3rd base, you know, and keep on reinforcing Stalkers 3x3, but he's warping in sentries instead. Oh my god. He's for sure gonna try to be pretty aggressive here. And actually, he sent one of the Zealots that he had in his wall across the map, and the Overlord spotted it. So I think right now, Hydra, he already knows what's happening once again. He's gonna start getting a lot of Zerglings out with the metabolic boost that just started, and he's getting a spine as well at this 3rd base here.
10lings in production, and more keep coming here. Hydra knows what is up, and if he can defend here against Lilbow, he's going to put himself in a great position to continue on through this game and become crowned champion. But for now, he's got to wait, because Lilbow has not shown the full hand just yet. He is being slow about it. He's going to warp in a few more units. The Roach Warren is another insurance policy here for Hydra, as Lilbow now has to force his way onto this 3rd base and do some damage.
Yeah, one very important thing to note is that Lilbow's not committed here. If he gets in trouble, he can just recall. And I think it's probably what he's going to have to do here real soon.
Gets himself a Queen, walling in the other 2 as well. He knows that those things are going to try and go for the wraparound. I think he has to recall out of there. There's no way he's going to be able to sit around. The Queen's also put a timer on that Mothership Core. Did go down to half health, and he wisely gets out of there before anything goes completely awry.
Yeah, going to snap an Overlord there and go for a 3rd base as well momentarily. Lilbow, he did the damage that he wanted. And this is the Lilbow we all know and love here. The one that, you know, is aggressive but doesn't get crushed in attacks, like kind of happened in the previous games.
Supply block there for both players.
Of them.
Lilbow's pylon died off to the left whilst we
That's a lot of links. Oh my god, Lilbow. He doesn't have that many force fields. He really doesn't have that many. I think he has like 4 or 5.
And at the moment, he doesn't have a pylon to reinforce towards his 3rd base. They're not finished just yet, so it would have only been those sentries actually trying to help things out. Adding on a few more gateways.
He's ahead in walkers, but Hydra's about to catch up here with 8, actually 12 drones on the way. Why not?
Yeah, across those 3 bases, he'll be well saturated very soon. And now
5 more gates, Kailaris.
Yeah, is he going
in the main? That Nexus, man, it's a decoy.
Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like it, and the Lings are going to go for the right. The thing is if they force a cancel, Hydra's going to feel great, but he's got units on the way. He's got a few roaches.
Oh, the probe is being... Oh my god, it's not going out of the wall here for Lilbow. He had another probe there he was trying to send. So if the first one gets sniped, he's not going to have another one, but right now the Lings are still pretty far away. So Lilbow is going to start unproxying Pylon. That second one's going to get spotted by the Overlord over there. And right now Hydra is in panic mode. He's only pumping out roaches.
Lilbow is pinning a lot of his hopes here on this attack once again. He was playing out clever, trying to trick Hydra a little bit with that Nexus, with the Feign, or a little bit of damage.
He can still recall, but if he has to recall this time, then Hydra is going to drone like a madman. He's going to take more extractors, and Lilbow will be in a lot of trouble not having another base. 7 Pylons on the way.
And gonna just free it all up, get in there as quickly as possible. Only Sentry and Zealot so far. The first few Stalkers warp on in. But what does Hydra have at the moment? He has plenty of Lings to always threaten those Pylons.
He has a lot of roaches.
14 roaches in total. Extra Spine Crawlers are going down at this third base. Hydra, if he's able to deal with this, then he has a really, really good shot.
The force fields are gonna have to be godly here. And the Lynx buy himself more time here. Hydra, look at how many roaches he's getting right now. More spines as well. They're going to tank so much damage and do a lot as well. And Hydra is setting up to go for another good fight here, quite possibly. But there's so many sentries. Remember, there is a recall all-time warp available as well.
The force field's really dealing with the roaches quite nicely. Pins a lot of the Zerglings in the back as well. Hydra trying to come in from both sides. The army supply is very, very equal. A few more units to actually pop here for Hydra. And even killing off that pylon, it won't matter too much. He can still warp on down onto the low ground. Gonna try and pin in more roaches. He managed to get them in there. The sentries with the stalkers are gonna kill off some of them. And at the moment, still pretty even in terms of army supply. More zealots are actually gonna warp in here at the back, trying to get onto those Lings, but roaches will pop. For the first time in this game, Lilbow has taken that supply advantage, but it's very, very close. 48 workers against 46, 60 army supply against 60. Lilbow still pits his hopes to survive here in the finals on this attack.
Lilbow with some sick micro here. He's actually going to start pulling ahead in supply, but there's still many roaches. He can't get careless. He's running out of force fields. I don't think he has too many Guardian Shield here as well. Gonna use the time warp.
He got himself one of the spine crawlers as well whilst he was trying to unburrow and root up. He's taking the supply advantage in the army now. This is a great position here for Lilbow to try and claw back a position here, gather some momentum. Another force field goes down. This is a great little engagement position for him to be in. Trap some of the roaches as well. Army supply still even 30 more, but he's going to get the hatchery if he's not careful. The roaches have to move in to make sure that hatchery stays alive. Force fields will come down. A good cave here, a good position for Lilbow, but still the army supply continues here for Hydra. He pushed him away from the third base.
Every time Hydra goes forward, more and more roaches get trapped, and Lilbow is starting to pull very far ahead. He has a very good stalker count against very few roaches. That hatchery, he's going to go down eventually, and those spines, they're useless. They're never attacking.
He's looking for it. He wants to try and get that spine crawler that's maybe rooting. He's warping some units into the low ground as well here. I think Lilbow feels as if he's got a good shot. The drones come off the line for Hydra to try and push this away, but I don't think it's going to work out. The stalkers have been able to power on through, keep him going here, and he's taken a significant hit to his economy as he's killed off those drones. 10 went down. The stalkers can continue to pile on forwards. GG! Lilbow is able to take a map here in the finals once again, moving it to 3-2 and keeping his hopes alive with the aggressive moves once again against Hydra. That's got to be a little bit of a confidence booster for him.
With everything on the line, he says, well, I'm not going to slow down because you've had 1 or 2 good defenses, Hydra. I'm still the guy, you know, that likes to set the pace, that likes to pick a build, execute it well, and win with it. And that's exactly what he does. Some very good force fields. Oh my god, like that was like a 5 minutes long fight with basically a lot of perfect force fields, pulling back every single time that the spines were finally attacking, which is funny because usually you see spines in those fights, you know, they're there all the way. You know, they attack the whole time, they do a lot, they either die or win. But in this case, they really didn't do much. Even might as well have played in Hydra disfavor here, kind of blocking him behind his hatchery.
Well, we can now head over once again to the analysis desk to find out how they feel about this best of 7. Currently 3-2 in favor of Hydra.
Thank you very much, Todd and Kalaris. And we've got a turn of events. As the last thing we talked about was the indecisiveness of the way that Lilbow is playing. Second, questioning himself. No longer are we seeing that. We're seeing a very brave,
player that's come in and said, okay, I'm going back to how I played the rest of the tournament. He's rock solid again. Even though he lost there on Inferno Pools, he knew exactly what he was going to do. He went for it. It's not a map that he's very favored on, and Protoss versus Zerg is favored on. And then going into that one, Roddy, he just went straight for it again.
Yeah, I mean, the last game was crazy because that's not even the Lilbow that I normally know. I felt like everything was going the way that he likes to go, and then he just takes his time, go up to 3 bases, drop a Twilight. He's like, no, his tournament life is on the line, and he drops 5 extra gateways, and he runs across the map. I mean, I think it was a really crazy decision, but, I mean, it worked out in the end.
I mean, how did he pull himself away from just letting this slip and having a loss here 4-1? What changed for him, Jeff?
Well, it kind of went back to the basics for him, I suppose. There's been I mean, it's been a pretty common theme throughout this series. I don't want to try to paint it any other way. Like, it's been either a Zealot Sentry timing or a Zealot into Zealot Sentry Stalker timing. In this case, he was able to trick him because the third was canceled, but it wasn't a true cancel. It was either going to be canceled by Lings or it was going to be canceled by his own volition because he was building the gateways behind that. And that's reaching back. That's like Lilbow was like 8 years old when that build was being used on the ladder. It was like a long time ago.
used to use the build all the time.
Long time ago. And it worked. Hydra just kind of thought that I mean, it was actually interesting because Hydra didn't get caught super greedy. Like, a lot of Zergs just instantly died to this kind of a timing attack, but he actually had the Spine Crawler, he had the 3 Queens, he was going for the Concave, and it just wasn't enough. Perfect force fields.
I want to actually give all the credit to Hydra as well, because he sniped so many pylons on the way, and he kept forcing Lilbow to turn around, drop force fields in places he didn't want to drop force fields. Lilbow also realizing, I can't lose my pylon, so he's dropping 3 or 4 immediately, but I still feel Hydra was doing so many things right over here. I do think there was one thing he was missing, and that is Burrow. I think Burrow's extremely good against these 8 gateway pushes. He can save almost every single roach, but one more thing that was extremely cool during this fight is Lilbow could have killed that hatchery multiple times, but he didn't because it was part of his force field wall.
It was basically a Zerg force field, which is the most painful thing for Zerg
I mean,
to
you
feel.
can see there's no creep spread here. Very difficult for Hydra to engage into. And this was the perfect play for Lilbow to manage to crawl back into this. He's got his confidence back. He's playing very decisive, just like we've seen throughout the tournament. But it's not just that simple. He can't just go ahead and choose a strategy and go for it, as well as that's going to work out for him. Hydra is no fool. He's still 1 game away from winning this. And, I mean, coming into this next map, the map load is kind of lightened on Lilbow's shoulders. It's not as difficult anymore. The tough maps are now gone. But Hydra, surely he's not going to fall victim to any tricks or stuff like this consistently, right?
Well, he's up 3-2. I mean, he's 1 game away from closing out this thing and winning it. And it really hasn't been that different from Lilbow. It has not been the exact same build. It's been obviously some variation to it. We saw Blink earlier on. But for the most part, it's been off the backbone of early aggression. And Hydra has handled himself fairly well most often.
Let's not forget that Hydra used a little bit of a trick as well, though, on Echo, and that's also not something he can do 2 or 3 times in this series. I'm still waiting for that very solid, straight-up game where Lilbow can do his Sentry into Blink Stalkers plus 3, which he tried to do on Echo, but then Hydra caught him off guard. But Lilbow's not going to fall for that again. So, I mean, with Expedition Loss gone, with Inferno Pools gone, I'd say the dream is still alive for Lilbow. I think the next map is, it's either Coda or Iron Fortress. Iron Fortress,
it's Coda.
It's Coda. Well, I think that is a very good map for Lilbow, and we saw Gong Fu Benda getting very close to defeating Hydra on that map, so it's possible.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time to go to the next map. Can Lilbow keep his confidence up and keep going for it, or is Hydra finally going to get his hands on that trophy?
Hydra's been in this position before, 1 game away from clinching the grand final here in WCS, and now he needs to make sure he can calm those demons in his head of saying, what if it happens again? Because Lilbow could definitely bring it back here. He's taken 1 map. That's a small road in this journey for him in the grand finals been walked. Up to the top left-hand corner, we have our red Zerg player representing Team Roots. It is Hydra! And down to the bottom right-hand corner, able to keep himself alive in the grand finals of a tournament he has performed in stellar fashion with. Representing Team Millennium, it is Lilbow!
Lilbow definitely bringing it back quite nicely in the previous map, but it was his map pick, Cactus Valley. Now, we're on Hydra's map. We're on the map that Hydra won when he played against Lilbow in the round of 32 with a very nice build actually back then. You know, he rushed to burrow very quickly, blocked the third base of Lilbow, and then from there made a lot of approaches with turning claws and finished it.
Well, we know who the crowd's behind right now. As this finals unfolds, Lilbow here needs to fight on back. He has got one more map under his belt, but Hydra, one game away. Can't fall. Cannot let those doubts sink in of Lilbow being able to pull this on back. The probe is going to move forwards, see the hatchery here, and then just head on into the main. No trickery, no skullduggery going on here from Hydra. Just takes the gas and is going to play this out in a bit more of a standard fashion, with that spawning pool being added on before any kind of crazy third hatcheries, anything like that.
Yeah, you know, I talked about how Lilbow is very self-aware of his image, and there was quite a few games in which he didn't scout, and I think he realized that there is a chance that Hydra, you know, I mean, he has two chances right now to try something. There was a chance that Hydra was going to go for a Zergling Rush. What does he do? Gateway opener, scouts right after, makes sure that he's in no danger. As soon as he sees the hatchery first from Hydra, he goes for the Nexus, doesn't mind any gas early on, and finds himself in a position where he knows he's going to be safe here for a very long time.
And we'll see Lilbow now just moving on back here and get thrown down himself that cybernetics core to eventually clean up that wall and make that nice and sturdy. Lilbow, still, as much as we have seen huge amounts of gateway aggressions, gateway attacks from him here against Hydra, he still has so much up his sleeve. We've seen huge variance in his builds all tournament long. Does he bring something different here to Coda? A map where, you know, some Protoss can find a bit more solace and a bit more safety.
He has a huge repertoire, so the thing is, he can always open, you know, with this kind of a build, you know, with the Nexus, Gateway, adding on a few extra gateways, and then decide exactly how aggressive he wants to be. That's the real trick, you know, of playing Protoss versus Zerg. You know, some move outs, trying to force units. Burrow's gonna start. Hydra's gonna do the exact same build he did last time. Lilbow, if he remembers, there is a few good ways you can counter this. You can actually spot it with, you know, an hallucination if you were to go for a sentry, but right now he's going for a stalker. I'm thinking aggression here. You don't really go for a stalker like this unless you either want to be aggressive or you want to high tech, because you know that an overlord's gonna fly and you want to kill it quickly.
Well, going up against the burrow, it's something that can really catch some Protoss off guard sometimes, so he does have to be careful. Ling is already situated there. He wants to burrow, deny the third base, make sure that Lilbow is going to be slowed down and maybe even pinned into an aggressive stance. He might be trying to force Lilbow into an aggressive stance here with the burrow, as he does have that Roach Warren going down as well. Hydra, I think he feels that eventually in some of these games he would be able to beat out even more aggression, because he's already shown it. He's already proved it to himself in the past couple.
Yeah, he's actually already going to lair here on 2 bases. Hydra, rather than taking that third base early on, might just be going for some kind of Roach push here. If you get, you know, burrow this early, imagine what you can do with the quick tunneling class, you know, after getting Roach speed. You can do wonders. Gonna go for the Zergling burrow here. And Lilbow, neither Forge or Robo has started here.
Yeah, he has those extra gateways just about to finish up. Mothership Core will poke on in and see not too much. Doesn't see that the layer's morphing in because it's at the natural here for him. So being able to spot that is a bit more of a hindrance, a bit more of an annoyance. Forge is going to be added on, and that looks more like a third base strategy, but that Ling at the front as well. You can see it on the third base. It's actually written there. It's on lockdown. That poor little Ling is doing what he can.
And what about the airlock part? Is that the Mothership's job?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna have to get him out that lockdown. Go.
I don't think I like the move back here with the, you know, the Zealot sending it back, but I guess first hallucination here is now gonna be used to see that basically there is a late third base for Hydra, and he's starting to pop out roaches with the quick layer that he's got. He's getting glial reconstitution here. Very, very late Robo here by Lilbow. He added on one more gate and a Twilight Council as well, I guess, for Blink and +2. Really delayed that Robo.
Twilight Council was seen pretty early, even before he morphed in that Overseer, so he's looking fine in that regard. Maybe we will see Blink and +2 eventually researched out of Lilbow. And even throwing a cannon down at the front, so...
He has a lot of money. He might just drop down a bunch of gateways and go for like a 7-gate blink only. Look at this. He's whopping a lot of Stalkers now after the initial sentries that he made. If Lilbow drops it down a bunch of gateways now... Okay, no, he's just gonna go for the Robo.
Or is that to use as an observer?
It can still be aggressive.
Yeah.
I think Lilbow is a little bit panicked right now because he's scouted such a late third from Hydra. He's like, is he faking that third base? Is he actually gonna make a ton of roaches like the last time we met and try and kill me with tunneling claws? I'm not gonna let that happen. So he gets a second cannon, but right now Hydra, I think he has every intention to macro. Look at how many drones he's up to. 59 to 50 probes.
Yeah.
And he's making even more.
Hydralist Den's about to finish up. He's going to look to clean out that third base and maybe... I mean, this Nexus could easily be a fake as it tries to drop down and... Yeah, lockdown, sorry, buddy. So, not exactly the easiest for Lilbow to take that. And now, once that Robo facility's finished up, he might get himself that Observer out, try and clean that up and leave a bit of doubt. But also, this Link, the Roaches, all of these things keep Hydra in the know. He knows where his opponent's army is. Drops down the time warp, actually catches a few of them. Doesn't have the vision. He's going to have to stick around there for a little while before that Observer gets out. He's chrono boosting out. He wants those kills, Todd.
Yeah, Lilbow right now, he has to be getting annoyed at this. But look at this. Having to clear these roaches here is going to buy even more time for his Ling on the natural to block for even longer. Doesn't matter here. I don't think Hydra cares about losing these roaches. That just delayed the Observer from going onto the third base even more. A 10 minutes 40 Nexus on the third base while a Hive already started. I think Hydra is really happy here with the current situation in this game.
Yeah, I think so as well. Those Hydralisks are now about to pop out. The probe hasn't thrown down the Nexus yet because there's 3 gateways behind this.
He might just go all in. Oh. He made a lot of gateways.
Oh, no way. delaying Blink for quite a while here at the moment as the Stalkers will poke forward. 1.8 seconds left on the Blink.
This is it, Kailar. Lilbow is on 7 gates. He's going to go for an all-in here. It either works or he's going to die. He has a very scary army, but Hydra, he's trying to mass enough roaches, and Hydra is to fight against this. The force fields going to be very important as well as the time warps. There is no transition possible here out of Lilbow. It's everything on the line right now.
Compared to other situations, he has an Observer there. He can clean out this creep and eventually make an engagement more favorable for him to try and deny a good concave. But more Stalkers will warp in. Lilbow is looking for that critical mass Stalker. He doesn't necessarily have huge amounts of sentries, like not 12 or so, but he has enough to make this really, really hard here. Time Warp's going to go down. He'll try and cut this up. He divides up a lot of these roaches from the Hydralists at the back. He has no Zealots here, so the Hydras at the back aren't even really doing much damage at all at the moment. Lilbow really piling on the pressure now. Army supply, 84 against 73, and he will have to back off just for a moment.
He lost almost nothing. He blinked everything back. Lilbow has lost 3 units so far this game.
Resources lost to 2,500 against 525. Lilbow has to continue to be this cost efficient, as once again he still has a line of force fields he can use to try and cut this up. This is a good angle he's coming in from. He just needs to blink back all of his Stalkers, keep them alive, still be efficient. 92 army supply against 75. And Lilbow is going to actually try and get in here, try and continue to even up the odds, even up the score, but the concave from the Hydras is beautiful here for Hydra. He needs the reinforcements, going to push on forwards, blinking down here aggressively to the left-hand side, but it's 54 army supply against 31. Hydra has fought this back.
Lilbow fought a little bit too early here, I think. He didn't have a Guardian Shield with his sentries, not enough energy for force fields either. He killed 11 drones, but Hydra is still on 57 against 49 probes.
He needs a miracle. He needs a miracle right now. He's going to wait for more and more Stalkers, but all the while, the economy for Hydra is good. The number of units he has is good. 9 more Roaches about to pile on out, with even the sprinkling of Hydras about to pop as well. This Roach Hydra composition, the engagements Hydra has been able to take are nice. He's overextending a little bit, perhaps, but I think he feels that if he can crush these Stalker numbers, he will be able to be victorious. Trying to blink on back. Zealots get warped in. A little bit of desperation here for Lilbow. He needs to try and keep himself alive. He does not want to lose out on the championship that he has worked so much for. 62 army supply against 20 at the moment as Lilbow Stalkers are being ravaged. He knows it. He knows it's done. GG. Hydra 4-2 is able to win the championship, is able to go the distance here in the grand final. He gets his redemption, he gets his retribution, and Hydra will be your Season 2 World Championship Series champion.
Congratulations, Hydra. Absolutely an emotional moment for you. It looked like the nightmare might repeat yourself, but you're finally holding this trophy. You've come such a long way for this. What does holding this feel like, finally?
I'm very, very hungry.
I can't blame you. You know, you came a really long way for this, and these guys have been just cheering for you match after match. What do you have to say to all your fans here and also back at home?
Yeah, I'm very, very, very thankful who cheered me, and yeah, it was very hard to get this champion trophy, but yeah, I got this one, and I will keep trying to my best to get more trophy.
Awesome. Let this be the first of many for Hydra. Congratulations once again. Of course, thanks to all you fans here, all of you watching back at home, and all you awesome Barcrasts around the world. Once again, Hydra is your WCS Premier League Season 2 champion.
Finally, he's got his hands on the trophy. 4 finals within the WCS circuit this year, Roddy, and in control. Finally, he gets what he's wanted. He gets the revenge against Pult in the semifinals, and then he's able to close it out against Lilbow in the grand finals. Hydra picks up that trophy, and it must be just a sigh of relief after losing in a couple of finals already this year to break that, and especially because there's a player that can come through the thought process when you're starting to lose games in the final. He's like, oh no, is this happening again? But he's done it, Roddy.
No, he did, and it's awesome to see hard work pay off like this. It's literally probably a dream come true. He moved from Korea to North America to participate in tournaments like this. Came close 3 times already this year, but we all know how good he is, what an incredible player he is. And this time it finally all came together. I don't think his prediction of the semifinal being harder than the final was true, though, because he really had to work for it in the final.
Yeah, he really did, and a lot of people thought he would win it, but maybe not in the way that he did. But eventually, Jeff, from the very beginning of this tournament, everybody looked at Hydra as the favorite, even over Pult, the reigning champion, over everybody else. And it's good to see that come true for him.
It really is. And again, not to beat the horse, I guess, but Kevin said it. I mean, to put in the work, to move, to make it about WCS, and to come here and to get that monkey off his back. I mean, 4 finals, and finally he does it. And with 2,000 points, $30,000, this guy will be playing at BlizzCon. I would stake quite a bit of Kevin's money on this. And he's got
none of that, Jeff.
Well, you know, there's time. But he's got the rest of the year to build on that legacy and continue the momentum. He destroyed Pult. That was the other guy that everyone was like, well, if it's not Hydra, it's going to be Pult. He made that look silly. At the end of the day, it was actually Lilbow that gave him pause in starting off the series with a win there. That was really nice.
And obviously very good for Root Gaming, bringing him into the team towards the end of last year. He's now been on the team for over 6 months' time. And he's gotten a trophy, a big one for the team, Kev.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing,
the
man.
Biggest?
This is really not. Yeah, I would say definitely say so. Within StarCraft II, without a shadow of a doubt, absolutely. I mean, it's awesome as well because they gave it a try before with Supernova. Supernova definitely posted a couple of results, but you know, this is exactly what they were dreaming of. They've been working really hard on getting him that visa to live in Northern California, and you know, to see it all come together like this. Because you know, before you know it, it's a Korean that maybe drops out in the round of 32, drops out in the round of 16, and then everybody's like, ha, yeah, that's what happens when you leave Korea, move to North America, you know, that's your own fault. But not Hydra, man. He really lived up to it, and I think Katz, the manager of Root Gaming, I think he's extremely proud and extremely happy right now.
Has to be.
And this is not the end for Hydra. It's not the end for the WCS either. Of course, we have a lot more action still to come this year. We've got a lot of global events coming up with the Intel Extreme Masters starting its new season. DreamHack still having a couple of tournaments left. Home Story Cup next weekend. A lot of tournaments still around the corner. And of course, Season 3 not that far away. We will be going to Poland for that if you're still here and haven't heard about that. So Season 3 finals will be played in Poland. But to wrap up this tournament, 16 players, a fantastic event, a fantastic audience, a fantastic crowd, and it's been a great pleasure being up here, Jeff.
Absolutely, and I'm excited about Season 3. A couple of players really, you know, we talked about storylines all weekend long. Kalaris really hammered it in there, and honestly, at the end of the day, it's like, Lilbow, I'm watching this guy next season. Man, he came so close to winning this. Bunny, tied for 16th. He's in the hunt. There's some players that really, really establish themselves here. And conversely, there's some players who there are question marks. They got put down fairly hard, and they're really good players that work really hard. So Season 3, they're going to be looking to that to try to do better.
I mean, Season 3 is so cool on its own because we got those things we had from Season 1, right? Showtime doing phenomenal. Bonnie maybe overtaking the crown from Snoot as being the best foreigner. Bonnie again delivering in Season 2. Not only we have Lilbow with an extremely good performance. We got a couple of those other guys that are absolutely knocking on the front door. Marie Lord with the best performance out of his career. Igas, who's showing remarkable consistency by making deep runs. TLO back-to-back round of 8 appearances. Like, you know, Season 3, I'm already excited. Let's start it tomorrow, Sean.
Yeah, let's start it tomorrow. Can Harston go deep in this tournament? We could keep going.
The gatekeeper.
The gatekeeper, as Clara says. A fantastic tournament. Thank you very much for joining us. Good to have you here, Roddy. Good to have you on the WCS here, Jeff. Thank you, everybody who traveled here in Canada, for having us in the city of Toronto.
Canada!
Toronto! Thank you very much, Blizzard, for making such an awesome game that we all love and enjoy, StarCraft II. We will see you in Season 3.